You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Friday, June 26, 2020. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. It's been a heck of a week, and it doesn't look like it's going to lighten up anytime soon here. We've got a lot to talk about today. The Lady Claire will be with us in hour number 2. We're going to open the phones at the bottom of this hour, so you can call on in with your comments, questions, and opinions. The number, of course, is 800-313-9443. Mike is in the control room ready to answer the phone when you call on in. Again, we'll open the phones at the bottom of the hours. It occurred to me just going into the show today that I could play a replay, and how would you know? I mean, it's all the same news day after day after day after day. It's COVID this and economy that and, campaign this. And it's just the same thing over and over again. It actually makes, the job here at RBN a little more difficult. We're out there constantly trying, let's find something new. Let's find something interesting. Is anybody talking about Afghanistan? No. Is anybody talking about Syria? No. Anybody talking about Iraq? No. And I mean, even the murder hornets have disappeared from the corporate news cycle. And you'd figure something sensational like that would be getting a lot of play if you remember the big splash over the killer bees and so forth and so on. Anyway, terrible day on the Dow, closed 700 down, and 730, as a matter of fact. They just updated the number here. Meanwhile, President Trump has arrived in Wisconsin as part of his campaign and was greeted by cheering supporters. I'm sure that's got to be buoying his spirits. He actually had an upset in one Republican primary where he lost to a challenger. I think it was a 24-year-old guy. Challenged him for the nomination in that state and actually won. All right, let's talk about Black Lives Matter. Now, the Lincoln Emancipation statue is still standing. It was not taken down last night. The National Guard and the Park Police have put steel fencing all around it. And Black Lives Matter says they're coming by tonight to tear it down here. And President Donald Trump says Black Lives Matter has committed treason, sedition, and insurrection. Yeah, that seems like that's pretty much the trifecta right there. And again, there are peaceful ways to deal with this. Now, the statue is located in the Capitol Hill area of Washington, D.C., in Lincoln Park, good place for it. Prior to the construction of what we now know of as the Lincoln Memorial, that was the National Lincoln Memorial. So, I mean, it's a historically important statue. And they're still out there saying it looks like Black subservience. And again, it shows the ignorance of history that this movement has, because the statue was paid for by freed slaves, in many cases with the very first money they earned as free people. And they approved the design. That was their honoring of Abraham Lincoln. And the Black Lives Matter wants to tear it down. I think it's disrespectful. It means that how people felt about what was going on back then, even Black people, doesn't matter anymore. It's a very selfish attitude. How we feel about it today, right now, that's all that really matters, and we want the statue to come down. And all those Black people who paid for that statue and wanted that design, they don't count anymore. That's their attitude. It's very self-centered indeed. Okay, Yahoo has published a column from their music editor, Lindsay Parker, in which she is saying that the national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, is blatantly racist and needs to go. Now, the Star-Spangled Banner itself, at least in the verse that we're all familiar with, isn't racist that I can see. Okay, most people don't realize there are more verses to it than we normally sing when we sing the national anthem. The idea is, though, that Francis Scott Key owned slaves at one point, and that's why they want it to go. They haven't said what they want to replace it with. I don't know, the theme from the Mickey Mouse Club? But this is really getting too silly. Okay, over in Seattle, protesters from CHOP confront construction workers, lie down in front of bulldozers that arrive to remove the concrete barriers surrounding the cop-free zone. Boy, they should be glad they're not in Israel. The bulldozers wouldn't have stopped here. Okay, videos involved in the attack on President Jackson's statue are being reviewed. Bill Barr and the Department of Justice are investigating the violent rioters. There's rioters. They're saying they are going to prosecute, and they should. They really should. Those statues belong to all the people, not just the ones who don't like them. Now, this one is really going to stir up a controversy. There's an upcoming Hollywood film called Habit, and it depicts Jesus as a woman and gay. And Christians, of course, are trying to cancel it. We'll see what happens with that one. They might get the support for that. And that would be a bad precedent. Because I'll tell you this, I don't want the entire population of the United States of America deciding for me what movies I want to see and what movies I don't want to see. And let me be clear on this. This is not a movie I'm going to bother seeing. Okay. But, okay, there are people who will. And they have as much right to see that movie as I have to go back over to pay-per-view and, you know, pull up an old Disney movie or something. Now, Nelson Mandela's widow is saying statues are part of our history. We must learn from them. Apparently, the Archbishop of Canterbury warns that some statues will have to come down because they portray Jesus as a white person. Well, yes, that's true. And genetically, biologically, ethnically, Jesus wasn't white, unless he was the only albino in Palestine at the time. He was Palestinian. And he looked Palestinian, he sounded Palestinian. His name was actually Joshua. Jesus is an artifact of translating Joshua from the Aramaic into Greek and from the Greek into Roman. And when the Roman was translated into English, that's where Jesus came from. It didn't really exist as a name back then. So Joshua, obviously a very influential person, created quite a bit of a stir over there in Palestine, but he wasn't white. Now, if you look around the world at various Christian churches, you will see Jesus portrayed as a great many ethnic groups. But the popular image of Jesus, as we have all grown up with him, is actually the guy's Italian. And his name is Honoré Borgia. He's the son of one of the popes who decided he wanted to unify the image of Jesus throughout the Catholic Church, hired a bunch of artists to create all of these paintings and everything using Honoré as a model, and then sent them out to the churches and cathedrals around the world. Okay, speaking of Disney, we talked about this before. We're going to talk about it again. Disney is going to overhaul the Splash Mountain ride at its California and Florida theme parks because it's based on Song of the South, which is deemed offensive because it talks about the old South, the antebellum South here. And so they're going to rebrand it as the Princess and the Frog ride. And a spokesfrog from the amphibians denounced the decision as an exploitation of amphibians and says they will tear down the ride as soon as they get rid of the lizard selling insurance in their name. Okay. Down in Texas, the world's largest medical complex is running out of ICU beds due to the coronavirus. Apparently, the second wave is here. And it's popping up, and already we're seeing states pause their the relaxation of the lockdown. We're seeing a return to mandatory masks. Apparently, Florida just shut down all their bars again. So does Texas. Arizona tells residents to stay home, and Florida says it won't enter the next phase of opening as the states battle record spikes in COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. And by the way, that has been the news all day long. I've been watching the Fox channel, and it's all COVID all the time. Mike Pence was on the air with more than a few press conferences talking about the spike in cases down in the Deep South. Kind of weird because remember, they were telling us that warm weather would kill this thing off. And it doesn't. Joe Biden is saying that if he is elected president, he will require face masks nationwide. Everybody will have to have them on. Okay, now Biden has emerged from his Delaware basement to travel to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He saw his shadow, so we get 6 more weeks of babbling, including this claim that 120 million Americans have died from COVID-19. All right, let's talk about some international news now. Japan has some suspicions about the health of Kim Jong-un and his very strange movements after months of rumors about the North Korean dictator. And apparently part of it is that his sister, who's next in line for the throne, seems to be wielding a tremendous amount of power right now. Could turn out to be another Francisco Franco debacle where the guy has died and they just never get around to telling anybody about it. All right, the U.S. warships Dwight D. Eisenhower and San Jacinto spend a record 161st consecutive day at sea in the Middle East after avoiding port visits over coronavirus fears. Now, the Navy's 2 aircraft carriers do not have enough supply ships to keep them stocked with food and ammunition, according to experts. That's the Royal Navy, by the way. 2 $6.4 billion aircraft carriers do not have enough supply ships to keep them stocked with ammo and food. The Navy has just one vessel that can supply its biggest ever warships, the Queen Elizabeth and the Prince of Wales, on operations. 3 supply ships are crucial in order for the force to operate. At least 54 people have been killed as the South Yemen ceasefire collapses in Abyan. Saudi-brokered ceasefire between the Saudi-backed government in Yemen and the Southern Transitional Council has not lasted long, and after tensions on the island of Socotra, fighting erupted in the Abyan province. Everybody's fighting everybody here. Fighting has raged over 24 hours in Abyan province with at least 54 fighters killed. Both sides are blaming the other for starting the fighting and violating the truth here. All right, let's talk a little bit about the economy. As I mentioned before, terrible day on the stock market, down 730 on the Dow. And I'm looking at the other numbers. They are not good. The economy is under strain, and they're blaming the sudden spike in coronavirus infections as spooking the market, which may well be the case, in which case we're going to see the market take another dump on Monday, probably. Anyway, Microsoft has decided after 11 years they're going to quit trying to run physical retail stores, and they're going to close them all, and they're refocusing its sales efforts around its online digital store. We're probably going to see a lot more of that in other retail outlets as well here. All righty, make no mistake, the pandemic morphed into a depression-like crisis, says UCLA economist who predicts the U.S. economy won't recover from coronavirus until 2023. And the road to recovery could be a very, very long one, according to David Schulman, senior economist at UCLA Anderson School of Management, in a recently published quarterly research report. Now, gold prices are nearing $1,800 as investors pile into exchange-traded funds. And it's kind of weird. Gold is solid. People rely on gold, and gold is going up. And yet I saw some articles saying, you should stay away from it. So I don't know if somebody's trying to do an end run on the gold market or what's really going on here. 78% of fund managers say the market is overvalued. Smart money is now considered as dumb money. The way it's run is all pretty much dumb. Okay, let's talk about some science stuff. I'm in the mood for science. I'm in the mood for science simply because it's out there. NASA outlines a madcap proposal to use a fleet of steam-powered hopping robots to explore Jupiter and Saturn's icy moons, Europa and Enceladus. And I wish they hadn't run the headline steam-powered, because, you know, you think images of steampunk and locomotives and whatnot. Obviously, these are closed-cycle motors. Think Stirling cycle engines, where there's no release of gas or fluid. It's simply the transfer of heat turned into motion here. Okay. Let's see. So apparently they're also talking about steam-powered thrusters. All right, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines now. And we're going to start with Glenn in Philadelphia. Aloha, Glenn. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Mike. Hi. This just in, Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead.
By golly, he's got stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, well, I don't. That's a Saturday Night Live thing they used to do every
Yeah,
week
I
on
remember.
the weekend.
Every week they would start with that.
Yes, along with, and our top story tonight, Garrett Morris yelling about news for the hard of hearing.
Yeah.
But I was speaking of Chevy Chase. You mentioned something about Song of the South, I think. If you happen to remember the Chevy Chase Fletch sequel, Fletch Lives, in which
Yes.
he inherits a southern plantation. There's this hilarious little cartoon sequence they do in there where he's dreaming of himself as a southern plantation lord, and they have him doing this, all the animated characters and everything. It's just hilarious mockery of that. But I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's
No,
something.
I haven't.
It just even if you just scroll through Fletch Lives and find a little, there's cartoon birds and animals walking around and everything. It's his dream of him as a southern plantation lord, because
It's starting to ring a bell. I think maybe I have seen it, and it's just starting to come back here.
Oh yeah. But my stated purpose of my call for the screen was the skin color of Jesus and
Yes.
hair color and so Jesus' appearance. Now, all right, here's the curveball quiz question for you, Mike. What color does the Bible say Jesus' hair is?
I have to be honest, I don't recall off the top of my head, and I've read the Bible.
Only in one place is the hair color of Jesus described, and it is in the book of Revelation, and his hair is white as wool, and his eyes are a flame of fire, and his feet are of burnished bronze. It's a description of the resurrected, glorified Christ that John has a vision of while he's on the island of Patmos.
Okay.
But I just always think it's funny. I have I have a little card in my wallet that my grandfather used to carry. The very famous picture of Jesus where he looks like a very white guy, with shoulder-length hair and beard and everything. But no, I just think it's an ironic little Sunday school question when you to throw people the curveball and then ask them what color does the Bible say his hair is, and it's this depiction from a vision from John.
Yes.
White is wool. Yeah. So,
Well,
anyway, so white is the
white hair was considered a symbol of wisdom and power back then. Like here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The Bible even talks about the hoary head, Hoary, the hoary head.
Yes.
White or gray hair. Yeah. So, all right, that's all I had. Just those serendipitous things.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot here. And we're going to let you go. The phone lines, we're going to leave them open, 800-313-9443. Now, SpaceX is set to launch its 10th batch of Starlink satellites. The launch, unfortunately, got postponed because of weather and doing some more checks, so they're going to reschedule it. But it will be in the next few days, and hopefully those people who are downrange from the launch will be able to see that little bead chain of satellites going across the sky here before they spread on out to their various orbits here. Now, this is a cool story. Chinese researchers have developed a new construction material that can be made from lunar dust. It is 22 times stronger than concrete and could be used to build a moon base without having to transport materials from Earth. That is really cool, I think. My opinion. Okay, we're going to take another phone call. This from David in Boston. Hello, David. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, yeah. Aloha, Michael. Michael, this is what's on my mind. And, maybe you can help me with this and everything. But, there was Kristallnacht over in Germany. I believe it was around like November 9th and 10th.
Yes.
I don't know. There was, in the 1930s, in 39 or something, 38 or something, Kristallnacht.
Yeah.
Michael, I was walking through the section yesterday. I'm walking through a section of Boston, and all the windows of all the businesses are all boarded up because all their windows were busted out and everything. So, I got to thinking, I said, wait a minute here. Over in Germany, you can go off to prison, sentenced to prison for 5 years if you even question any aspect of the Holocaust, even question the details of Kristallnacht and everything. And, I got to thinking, I says, President Trump talks about the fake news, but, he doesn't want to ever talk about the fake news.
David, stay on the line. Stay on the line. You got to take a break for commercials. I'm going to hold you over to the next segment, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us
800-724-2719 extension 3. 800-724-2719 extension 3.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And welcome back to our show. Here we're talking with David in Boston, who's drawing some interesting historical parallels between Kristallnacht in Nazi Germany and the destruction we're seeing in the streets of America today. So, David, if you could just pick up where you left off.
Yeah, Michael, thank you very much. Yeah, Michael, so I'm thinking, yeah, the police are being ordered to stand down, just like on Kristallnacht, the police were ordered to stand down. A German official had been murdered by a Jew, a Polish Jew. I forget the German official's name. So, it involved a murder, just like George Floyd there involved a murder and everything. But, this goes on night after night after night. But, I'm got to thinking, boy, whether you believe in Jesus or not, boy, was he right. He always said they're just hypocrites, hypocrites, hypocrites. These Jews are so highly organized in this country, and not one peep about the Kristallnacht in Germany only happened one night. The Kristallnacht in America is happening night after night after night. We've had multiple Kristallnachts, and I don't hear a peep from these fake Jews. Trump wants to talk about the fake news, but he doesn't want to talk about the fake Jews that are behind his fake news. Yeah, so I'm sick of it. These Jews, I go to these Black Lives Matter rallies, and these white Jews are passing out communist literature. They're all behind this Kristallnacht. these Jews are such hypocrites, you know. It's just crystal not. They say, never forget, and don't ever forgive. Never forgive. These stinking Jews are such a bunch of hypocrites. Why don't they speak out against this crystal not in America?
David,
I'm
take
pissed
a
off.
Valium. Take a Valium. Calm down. Calm down here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We get your point. Okay. We absolutely get your point here. And thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Arjun in New Jersey. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Mike. I wanted to talk about Chinese propaganda today.
Yes.
And Chinese Communist Party has a saying, strangle you with your own system. In other words, they observe in different countries how they operate, what is controversial in their system, how does the system work, how can they use the system to twist things around and cause chaos. So you say you believe in free speech, we will have protests in your backyard calling you out. You say you believe in free press, we will start up state-run media in your country, and we will use those state-run media to lie to your population to spread our propaganda. You believe in free markets? How about we bring state-run companies that can sell below the cost and put your companies out of business and take your industries? Strangle you with your own system. The most controversial thing in US, I think, is the race. There is a company in US. It's called Committee of 100, and it is operated by Chinese. And so, if there is a Chinese spy that is actually caught in US, they will always protest against it. Now, Chinese military has this doctrine. So this warfare is fought at 3 different levels. One is psychological warfare. Second is media warfare. Third is legal warfare. Now, psychological warfare is not necessarily lying to you. It is about how you perceive, how do you interpret the information. And so when you see the virus is coming out of China and people say the virus comes out of China, if you call it a Chinese virus, they want you to use this and twist it around and say it is racist if you talk about the origin of the virus. Now, media warfare. We all know about the media warfare. All the outlets are already sold up. That's why we come to your channel. We come to these alternative media. They spent like $10 billion just to improve their image. And legal warfare, we already know about the legal warfare. Now, my conclusion on this is that, and it's just my conclusion, the toughest enemy is the enemy that you cannot see. I think the current riots that are happening, the destruction of statues that are happening in US right now, is funded by Chinese. And that's just my interpretation. The amount of penetration, the amount of penetration I think that China has in US, I think Russians didn't even had this penetration. And that's why they are causing all these racial riots and everything. Now, an example of this is that Chinese has killed like 484,249 people currently, if we believe the official numbers throughout the world. And we are unwilling to call this a biowarfare. And we just say that it is a mistake coming out of Chinese lab. And this is all I want to say today.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We're going to let you go here. We're going to start with Mark in North Carolina. Mark, I'm going to have to take you through the next commercial break. What's on your mind?
Yeah, 2 things, Mike. One is the thing about this, monuments and what Jesus Christ most likely looked like. First of all, nobody has a right to tear down monuments. Okay, that's up to you. You want to petition, whatever local government or federal government that puts those things up or maintains them. That's fine. But as far as Jesus Christ goes, I mean, people are so ignorant. It's incredible. Okay?
It really is. All right. I'm going to have to put you on hold. Don't hang up. We're going to come right back to this point.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington, too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the 7 seas, yeah, I want to be a pirate.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Mark in North Carolina. We're talking about pulling down statues, especially religious ones. And all I can keep thinking about as we hear all this talk about pulling down this or that statue is, you know, you need to go back and reread the history of Egypt during the Amarna period. They almost wrecked the place, messing around with people's images of gods. So, Mark, pick up where you left off, please.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, you got to be really, I'm not going to say stupid, but you really got to be really ignorant to believe that Jesus Christ, not only Jesus Christ, his disciples, and all the other Abrahamic religion prophets look anything different than either a Palestinian or a Sephardic Jew today. Okay?
Yeah.
There's no reason to believe they looked any different. All right? They weren't black, you know, sub-Saharan black, and they didn't look like Northern European whites. Now, some people point to some, you know, light-skinned Jews today, Ashkenazi Jews. That's because the Ashkenazi Jews mixed with Germans, Slavs, and Central Asian Mongols, which are called Khazarians. Okay?
Khazar, yeah.
So this is not, Khazars, whatever they're called. Anyway, that's why a lot of them look light and maybe have blonde hair, and some look dark also, and some look very Oriental, like the Khazars, okay? But the fact of the matter is, they don't, you know, the idea is there's no reason other than that to believe that these biblical prophets would have looked any different than somebody, than, like I said, a Palestinian, Sephardic Jew, or even a Syrian of today, because that's around the area a lot of the Bible took place. Okay.
Yes.
So I mean, come on, folks, stop with the little bickering. We got too many other problems in this country, and that's one of the things I just want to bring up about Dustin and that other guy Paul from New Jersey brought up, yesterday. Look, let's get something straight, Justin. These masks are not doing you any good. There was this thing done by a guy using a OSHA meter there that showed that how these masks deprive you of oxygen. They don't protect you from anything. You know what I would suggest you do, Dustin? Get out from under your bed, get outside, get some fresh air and some sunshine. I was just outside mowing the lawn, man. I'm about a good hour job, hot sun. It's almost 90 degrees here today, and I feel great. Okay, that's what you should be doing, Dustin. Stop hiding under a stupid mask in a I don't know whether you're under your bed or where you are, like the end of the world is coming. The end of the world may come if we take Gates' vaccine. That's what I'm concerned about. That's what they want to do. They want to keep on boosting up. I just heard, I was just listening to the news today. That I was in the car, and I think it was a fake news network, Fox News, okay? And there was some hysterical sounding woman, at the and there's maybe 20 million people that have been tested, and found positive for the virus, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That is good news if that's the case, because it goes to show you very few people even have symptoms, let alone die or get severely sick from this thing. That should be good news. But instead, they're trying to scare you and scare you and scare you and scare you until people submit, give in, lock the country down some more. Like now, you got this clown here that's in my state here in North Carolina that's refused to go into phase 3. And top of that, he wants everybody to wear a mask. And the disappointing, disgusting Governor Abbott there in Texas, who's locking everything back down again and
Yes.
telling everybody to wear a mask. And there's going to be some big demonstrations, by the way, on Sunday. I can't wait.
I believe that people are very angry about this.
Oh, yeah. It's coming from InfoWars. InfoWars is organizing it. I think it's called We Can't Breathe.news. That's the name of the organization. And they are angry. They're going to be right there at the Capitol in Austin. Okay? Texans are not going to take this kind of stuff. I don't think Americans are going to take this much longer. Okay? They've done too much damage to this country already with this thing, with this nonsense. This is not that terrible of a virus, Dustin. It's not the end of the world, my man. Okay? It's not the Black Plague. Well, what do you call it? I think the bubonic plague and the Black Plague were the same thing. Okay?
Yes.
It's not smallpox. Okay? This is a virus like the flu, if it's not the flu. All right? Relax, my man. Get out there. Do some work. Do some work outside. Get some sunshine. Maybe go to the beach if they don't close that there. And I don't know if they close the Jersey beaches or not again. Okay? But you get out there and get some sunshine and some fresh air and do a little physical work. Okay? It'll do you good. That's all I got to say, Mike. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Bobby in Florida. Hello, Bobby. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, Mike. Yeah, Mike, I'm a musician, and I'm supposed to be playing tonight. We got all our stuff set up, and then we got a thing over the internet or a TV about their banning alcohol in the bars now. So I guess I'm out of money again. Last weekend we played. There wasn't a whole lot of people, but that really sucks. And this mask thing, I can't breathe. I've tried it. It sucks,
Yeah.
man.
What do you
I
play?
just pull it down on them. Oh, I play the guitar, and I have a bass player and a drummer, and they're Mexicans, and they're really talented musicians, really wonderful people. Well, my bass player, his daughter's into this whole Black Lives Matter thing, and I told him, I go, this is communism, man. I mean, he doesn't understand any of it, and I try to tell him, but what are you going to do? But getting back to talking about the Bible and all, I know that's a bad issue to bring up, but if you look in there, there's a lot of slavery in there.
Yes, there is.
There's a lot of where God commanded one group of people to kill another group of people. And in my quest for knowledge and truth that started a few years ago with the video I saw, the Dancing Israelis, I started questioning everything. I mean, I started looking at the Bible. It's a big psyop too.
Yeah.
My big game plan, and it's, don't like to bring that up. I don't want to leave everybody with a bad taste in their mouth, but that's something I question all the time. I'm not a Christian anymore. I'm not saying that I don't paint everything with a broad brush and say the Jews or, not all black people are bad. I mean, they gave us rock and roll. They gave us music, peanut butter. I think a black guy invented the street light. I heard that. I don't know.
Let's
George
see.
Carver Washington.
Harpoons, latch hook harpoons were invented by a black blacksmith who never got any residuals for it, I might add.
Right. So, and I grew up, I don't hate them. There's some bad ones. No matter what you see, like this show Kraka, I see it like trailers for it. There's a show called Kraka. It's about something that got on Amazon. It's one of these, I don't know, black people hurting white people, taking it back to the slavery. It's just trying to make people turn people against each other.
Yes.
And you see a lot of these videos of black people attacking people. They're savages. Some people are, some people are ignorant. And that's exactly what they want you to do, is to hate. They want you to do that. They'll show you all this, but then if you put something on the internet, I won't even go there. Anything about Jewish or the Zionist or any of that stuff, they take it off. And I remember when all these shootings would come up, all these people would post stuff pointing out all the anomalies in the shootings, saying they're hoaxes, and some of them did look really fake. All that stuff's been gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
But they're pushing all this race bait stuff. And I don't know. I thought I'd put that out there for you. I was talking to you yesterday about communism, and I was learning about that in school. I had this teacher who kept saying, well, communism's not bad. So I questioned it, and I found a magazine, and it had all these pictures in it of people tied up, laying there in their own filth. And it was a Cambodian thing that went on back in the 70s. And
yes.
She got really mad at me for bringing that up in the classrooms. Because, would you like to teach the class? I go, no. And all the kids laughed at me. Oh, well. But I learned a lesson then. I knew the Vietnam War was about communism, but it's a very complex thing. Some people turned to communism because they had to, like Castro. No one else would help them. And Ho Chi Minh, he tried to be pro-American, if you learn that story.
Yeah, so did Castro
really,
after the revolution.
Right. He tried, but then they had to turn to these jokers. Right. But I thought I'd put that out. I just thought I'd share that with you, Mike. I'll let you go. I hope I don't piss anybody off, but they need to. The Bible was something I really looked into when I got into this whole truth thing. I went into all these rabbit holes in the Bible. Man, it's a pretty harsh book. I'm surprised they aren't burning. I don't want to put that out there either, but I don't have nothing against religion. I love missionaries. I think Christians are wonderful people, but it's just not for me. I'll let you go, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot here. And before we take another call, Mike in the control room pointed out that the black son of a slave, Garrett Morgan, invented the 3-light traffic light and supposedly the gas mask. So, yeah, of course, somebody mentioned George Washington Carver, who just did amazing things with peanuts. And so back to the phones here. Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, good day to you, Michael. How you doing? Hope everything's great. Listen, Michael, first off, let's go to a couple of your callers. First, let's go to this. We don't know what Jesus Christ's color was basically, but we know he was basically white, but we know the founding fathers of this country are white men. All the founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence were white men, okay, gentlemen? They were white men. They had a divine intervention. And then one guy's talking about the Bible. Well, everybody's got his belief, but you know what? If he's in a foxhole and he's getting shot by Bolsheviks, he'll be saying, oh, help me, God. Help me, God. He'll be thinking of a higher power. I'm pretty sure of that. If these bullets start flying at him, he's going to want somebody to talk to and probably say, help me, God, please, or Jesus, whatever. There's got to be a higher power. But I don't want to go there. I'm not talking religion today. I want to talk about founding fathers of this country are white. They made the greatest country that we've ever known on earth, okay? And all these BLMs, the Bolshevik Lives Matter, or Black Looters Matter, whatever you want to call these people, they're beasts. And they're like rabid dogs. And Michael, Obama's behind a lot of this, like I told you with Jesse Smollett yesterday. Obama, Tortero, Hussein, the Kenyan, Obama is behind a lot of this hate of this country. This guy's got multiple $1 million. He spent $14 million on his house in Washington, D.C. How did this guy get all that money with Michelle Obama, who hated this country until she became first lady, who hated the country, and white women voted for her? If it weren't for the white women, none of these Democrats would ever even be in power. If it was an election of only men, the majority would rule, which is white Anglo males. And we wouldn't have this rabidness, these rabies running all over this country. Now, what I want to also say, Michael, is this. During the documents of the founding of this country,
yes,
they were based on men who believed in Christianity, who believed in a higher power. George Washington all the way down to Adams, all of them. They did believe in a higher power. They never anticipated this insanity that we're facing now in this country. And we've got to put this down. And Michael, Donald Trump needs to go on that TV tonight and tell everybody in the nation that he will watch on all major networks, like he gives State of the Union address. 25 whites were murdered by cops last year and only 10 blacks. Again, 25 white males were murdered by police officers in the country in 2019, only 10 blacks. George Floyd had fentanyl on him. Nobody's talking about that in the media. This guy's like an angel now. They want to make a statue of him and name streets after him like Martin Luther King, who supposedly on paper, and he supposedly had raped a woman. King, give me a break, man. When is this going to be exposed? And that one caller is real passionate. I got him in. He was pointing out Zog is in control when they're only 2%, and yet you got 4 of them on the Supreme Court. They control our Supreme Court. And the reason they don't want Donald Trump in there, everybody, and the one Dustin, who you may have had a bit, Dustin needs to know this, you need a face mask because the coronavirus is going through your eyes, not through your nose and your mouth. Now, getting back to what I want to say about Trump, media, for their filthy lies, the homosexual media is controlling all the major networks, okay? We're trying to start a race war. And what's going on here is, I lost my train of thought because I'm so upset with all this insanity by Zog, what they're trying to pull here, Sal Lewinsky nonsense. But Michael, Trump needs to go on air and tell them about what's going on, about Antifa, how Black Lives Matter is destroying this fabric of this greatest country that was ever made on this earth. Why are all these why are all these Africans and Mexicans and everybody trying to sneak in the United States, Michael? If white man is such a racist, why? Get them out. We don't need them because they're not here to compliment them here. They're coming to eat our lunch and take our job. I can tell you right now, affirmative action's killed so many white people by suicide. It's ridiculous alone. White people are qualified. The smartest man in the United States even said it. The highest IQ guy, I told you that, who has the highest IQ in this country, even said he couldn't even get a job because of affirmative action. And he's got an IQ of, 210? Okay? You can look it up. I forgot his name. I can't think of his name right now. He's from, I believe he's living in Montana. But he was even talking about affirmative action when the part I was reading about him. But yeah, Michael, what's going on with every day, the unrelenting attack on Trump? And, you got Dustin admitting 3 months ago, well, Jersey's always going to be Democrat, so I don't vote. I won't vote. He voted for Trump, and New Jersey's been knowing his vote's not going to count because that state's already told blue. And you know what, Michael? They got the colors wrong. The Democratic Party should be the red party, and the Republican Party should be the blue party because the communists, the Democrats are the red party. They're the communists. Truthfully speaking, if you think about it, I got the colors mixed up, but whatever. I love red too. Don't get me wrong. Red's the beautiful color. We all got red in we all have red in our veins. Black, white, Chinese, whoever. Wherever you come from, you have red running in your veins. That's one thing you can we all have in common. Nobody has a different color blood. We don't have different types of blood. We have the same color blood. So, and as far as I got to say, Michael, you always have a great show, Michael. You're on RBN, man. You're the man. That's all I can say. And you do stuff that other hosts don't do. But I just got to say, as far as Dustin goes with the face mask, he needs to wear a face mask over his eyes or wear some goggles because coronavirus goes through your eyes too. I wouldn't even be surprised if it goes in your ears. Pretty soon you're going to want earmuffs. You have to put a whole helmet on, like an astronaut helmet with oxygen bottles. Who knows what's going to happen with that? And as far as talking about science, Michael, you're right. We need to get it onto Mars and start another planet because this planet here is evaporating pretty quick in front of our eyes. We might have to reach out to the universe and travel out on outer space, the other planetary system, Europa or Mars, whatever. Because it's gonna, I believe, in the next 100 years, this country or the whole world, for that matter, ain't gonna be around. Basically, it's a disaster. What's going on? But again, the founding fathers of this country were mostly 99.99% white males who loved to start a new government out and gave us the greatest country on earth. And we have a lot of people in this country who hate it. Tearing Lincoln Memorial down after the guy gave him freedom. Ulysses S. Grant won the war for the Union, and they tore his statue down. It's unbelievable. And these blacks are being thug militants. That's all this is. It's Sal Lewinsky of a Frank
Yeah.
Marshall Davis. That's what this is boiling down to. And until white people unite, I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a disaster. I mean, they're sitting back on here. Well, I just got to say this, Michael. I saw something very interesting on one of these news networks. I think it was Newsmax. That 9 out of 10 voters in this country, or 9 out of 10 of the voters in this country that own guns are Republican.
Yeah,
So
that
think about
sounds
that.
about right here. Tom, I'm going to have to let you go. We got to take another commercial break. Back with more phone calls after these few words.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Red Pill Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners. So that you can get involved in the activism, please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. John Hess, 5 out of 5 stars. Awesome. Probably my only review, but at age 40, I was getting bad heartthrob and left arm pain, mainly before bed. I even stopped smoking and drinking sodas for a month, and that didn't work. After one day of taking Extendovite, it was gone and hasn't returned in 3 years. I've ordered Extendovite 13 times, so Amazon just said. Juliet Hordick. I've ordered this product before in liquid form. It is fantastic. My whole family's been on it. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones here to Daniel in British Columbia. Welcome to the show, Daniel. What's on your mind today? Daniel, are you there? Okay, I'm not hearing Daniel. Can we try John in Vancouver Island? Hello, John, are you there?
I don't know what's happening here.
Okay. Then let's go to.
I think we lost a couple people.
Okay, let's go to Dustin in New Jersey. Dustin, are you there? Hello?
Can you hear me, Mike?
I can hear you now. I think we got a problem with the phone line. What's on your mind?
Hey, is your wife going to be on tonight?
Yeah, she's going to be on in about another 4 minutes.
I saw her walking in the background, but I'm just curious what she thinks color Jesus is, or how about what's the color of God?
No.
Maybe he's no color.
Yeah,
you know.
I got my line.
I mean, the Jews did it, Mike. The blacks did it. The Chinese did it. I mean, come on, man. You know that caller with the Jews. I'm not Jewish. I'm Catholic. My God, man, come on. It's all the Jews' fault. You know, it's not about the greenbacks in your pocket. Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's all about power and the greenbacks, man. It's all about the Benjamins, right? That's,
Yes.
At the bottom, that's what it comes down to. It's all about the Benjamins. You know? Doesn't matter. That's the color, man. Color of green. Black, white, yellow. Meaningless, man. It's all about power and who wields that power. Okay?
Power and money.
Go back in history. Exactly, Mike. I had to pull myself out from under my bed, as Mark
Yes.
said. Or was it? Or Tom from Florida. Hey, Tom, how are those? I don't know if you're going to be going to the bars anytime soon, you know? And I called it a few months ago where I said, you know, if you don't follow this routine of everybody being on the same page, it ain't going to work. And it ain't working. And Mike, you called it. You said Texas, Arizona, Florida, and it's not going to get any better because I don't want to wear a mask. I'm going to wear a mask. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. It's like playing ping pong ball. This system, this is not going to work. You know, in the long run.
Yes.
You know, there's just no organization. There's no leadership. But Mike, moving on. Come on, man. Come on, guys. You know, it feels like I'm always getting ripped on. I don't force I'm giving you my opinion. Okay? I'm not forcing my view on anybody. If it seems like I'm doing that, I'm sorry, but I'm giving you my opinion because, you know, just because there's all this other stuff going on with Russia collusion and this or that doesn't make this virus any more fake, real, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want people to take precautions, Mike. You know, like, it's easy to say, like, oh, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm a tough guy, or it's fake. Alex Jones says this, so he must be right, Mike. Alex Jones is the all-knowing, you know?
Yes.
I'm wrong, you're wrong, everybody else is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, Fauci, do I trust him? Fauci? No. I don't trust Trump, Bush, Obama, Clinton. I'm going with my own eyes, you know? I mean, Texas, Arizona, other states, I mean, they're Republican. Florida, why would they do that? What are they all on the same? Are they all on take? They're all on the take, Mike. They got to be. They're all getting the green Benjamins, which we probably know they are. But I mean, there's something going on here. I just want people to take precautions. But for people to call in and say, "Oh, I'm forcing my view on something," no, I want you to stay safe. I hear
Okay.
the music.
Well, listen, yeah, Dustin, we got to take a break for station identification. Thank you for the phone call. We'll be back with hour number 2 and the Lady Claire after these few words.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network. Because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero? The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And welcome back to our show, hour number 2. And for those of you watching on YouTube, this gorgeous creature sitting to the side of me is the lovely lady Claire, who likes to share the microphone on Fridays with the rest of us. But we have a few more phone calls to get through before we can turn the show over to her. So let's start with Sebastian in Sweden. Hello, Sebastian. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, I was just, I heard yesterday's program, Dustin was said something about me in the corona. Well, let me tell you what, this herd immunity didn't work out good in Sweden.
No.
We're up at 65 now, and it's like we're up at 65,000, over 5,000 deaths, and it's 522 per million. And any other country in Europe with 10 million population, I mean, it really beats any country in Europe. Mm-hmm. And we're banned from going to Norway, Finland, Denmark, and Germany. You can go to Germany, but you have to stay 2 weeks in quarantine. And basically, no one from Europe wants to come here this year. So we're going to lose just millions and millions of crowns in tourist trade. And there's a lot of Germans that have cottages in Sweden, in the sides of Sweden, and they don't want to come up to their cottages this year because our government, how they treated the corona. They were just unprepared. They were completely caught with their pants down. They didn't get any help outside, and the popularity of the Social Democrats are going down. And, I hope it does, because I'm really a little bit peed off at the Social Democrats for that. And the fact that they, have this immigration. But getting back to, you said something about $4,000 if I was living in America again. I've driven the Route 1 from Maine to Key West. And what I would do is drive Route 66 from the east to the west.
I hate to be the one to tell you this, but Route 66 doesn't exist anymore. I mean, the roads still do, but they're labeled something else.
Well, they were the same with Route 1 and 301. I mean,
Yes.
they built 95 alongside of it, and that really doesn't exist anymore. So, and there's something else I heard Tom or someone talking about. As I recall, I remember, if you remember the Ed Sullivan Show. When
Yes.
you were a kid. I'm older than you are, but I can remember Fidel Castro, Ed Sullivan introducing, this is the George Washington of Cuba. And Fidel Castro was on the Ed Sullivan Show. I
Yes.
can remember that. I didn't dream it. And it's like, it's, it's something really sticks to you, little events like that, or you can remember. But, that's the situation here. It's, but we'll see what happens. Wait till the fall and the winter, and we'll see what when it turns down, this whole corona thing.
Well, I know
it's
that
not a
here-
normal flu. It's something.
Well, it's viral pneumonia is technically what it is. But here in the United States, people are very angry that the masks are coming back, the lockdowns are coming back. You probably heard that call earlier in the show where this gentleman who's part of a band just got the word that the venue where he's playing has basically been closed back down again. So he's out all of that money that he could be earning. And people really are very upset around here.
Yeah. And Claire, I like her Christmas music. I think she does Christmas music, doesn't
Yes.
she?
Yes.
On your program. Yeah, it's really nice. I really like that.
Thank
Okay, that's all I had today then, Mike. Take care of yourselves.
All right, we certainly will. I'm going to switch over to Greg in San Diego. Greg, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. You hear me?
I can hear you. You're on the air.
Yeah. This is about Dustin. My blood is boiling because of that guy right now. I tried to call him yesterday. This is my imitation of him. Come on, man.
Come on, he sounds like Joe Biden when he doesn't know what he's talking about. Come on, man. And then another thing he loves to say is he'll say something and qualify with "I don't know." Stop saying "I don't know" if you don't know what you're talking about. Why are you telling us? The masks are proven scientifically to be anti-beneficial for you. He's saying, "Oh, I don't believe the doctors and the nurses." Yeah, because they're getting shut down by Facebook. I'm sorry, I'm talking fast and I'm starting to sound like Tom from Florida, but I have my own problems with him. Even though I agree with everything Tom says, I have to take like blood pressure pills when I'm done listening to him. But
Yeah,
I agree
I've
with
asked
everything
him
he
not
says.
to drink so much coffee before he calls into the show.
Well, he lives in Miami. I don't know if it's coffee, so let's put it that way.
Well,
or Miami.
give him the benefit of the doubt.
I've been to Florida. I know what goes on down there. But Dustin, seriously, man, stop with the Joe Biden stuff and do a little bit more research on the science of masks. It's more people are dying because of suicide and destroying the economy in this country than if you just went out there with no masks and throw caution to the wind. And most of the people that are dying are already have pre-existing conditions. Come on, man. See, he's got me doing it now.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to let you go because I'm not going to ramble like a lot of your callers do, but you're awesome. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Miles in Maine. Hello, Miles. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Hey, good afternoon, Michael. I just wanted to say Tom calls, and every time he calls, it's a fantastic call. I mean, he always has his facts in order or multiple citations for his facts, and Tom is very well informed. I would say he's the talk radio version of the Kalishnikov.
That's an interesting analogy.
I think that's a compliment. I think it's a compliment.
Yes. And now, Dustin, Dustin, if you want to wear a condom, that's fine, but stop telling everybody else to wear one. Just when, like the last caller restated, it's been proven these masks don't work.
Yes.
And I thought it was interesting that Dustin didn't like Obama and didn't like Clinton and all this stuff he just recited, yet he voted for every one of them. So I don't know what's going on there with Dustin, but I hope he's okay. He's still a good guy in my book, but I don't know. It's interesting. And
well, I was at the pharmacy the other day. I was at the pharmacy the other day, and they were selling these boxes of the facial filters, the masks, and they had a disclaimer printed right on the side of the box saying "will not work against COVID-19."
Seriously.
Seriously.
It's just crazy. But and then here's what I don't understand, Michael. These people came to a country founded by these white people that they find so much displeasure in, who have people in the population that admire what the work that they did in finding and fighting for and developing our rights, our culture, and everything. And then we have an outside group of people from all over coming here, and they're not wanting to be American. They're wanting to destroy America. I mean, you couldn't go to Russia and tell them, well, I want you to take down, the Tsar's statue or Lenin statue or somebody. This is the only country where we're allowing the deculturization of our culture without the majority's influence. Yeah, without the majority's influence, we're known as racist and every other evil thing, except what they are is just concerned citizens trying to protect the culture of the country. And I just think it's so ironic, but I hope Kalishnikov Tom keeps it up, because we honestly, we just had Frank pass away, and we could have used a couple 100 million more like Frank. I mean, Frank was an awesome caller. Another one very well up on things, and I mean, he was very provocative, and I've sparred a little bit with Frank, and he's a good guy. He's a good man who will be sorely missed, but we need a bunch more Toms out there too. And
yes.
And Dustin, I'm still holding out. Dustin's going to come back around and vote for Trump again, because, like it or not, with these people, I mean, say whatever you want about Trump. He's the best thing we've got. and people raved about Reagan, who I didn't think was all that great, and I think Trump is miles ahead of Reagan. I mean, Trump stands up and Trump says his piece. Reagan would have never, I don't think, called the media fake news. Reagan listened to Israel and attacked Libya, and sent a missile over to Gaddafi's kids, his orphans that he adopted, by listening to Israel. At least Trump said, you know what, we're not going to go to war with Iraq, even though they made him look, or Iran, I guess it was, even though they made errors and gave him wrong information. In the end, Trump said, you know what, we're not going to do it. Even though Trump talked tough and everything, he finally figured out in the end that he was getting played. So you can say what you want about Trump, but until you got something better, and these guys with this Libertarian Party nonsense, they've been infiltrated since just about their beginning in '76. They want open borders. They want all this other stuff going on. The few that do get elected on local levels and that never come through with their promises. And how are we going to elect them anyway? They're not even on the ballot in every state, and they're going to keep it that way. They're not going to allow it until there's major ballot reform, major election reform, like Trump, we were all hoping he would do.
Yes.
But, we can't get everything with Trump when the entire planet and every faction of media and everything is against him. We're not going to get everything with him. So you know what? Let's give him another term, and let's see if he can bust loose and say, you know what? You can't. I'm done now, so I'm not going to get reelected. Here's the real agenda. We can only hope and pray. Michael, thanks for a great show. Lady Claire, we'll be looking forward to hearing you. And you guys have a great weekend and rest up, because we want to see you charged up for next week, Michael.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll do just that. And, at this point here, I mean, I can't see Biden being an effective president. He's just not there. And barring surprise at the convention, it looks like it's going to come down to Biden and Trump, and I'm going to vote for Trump simply because Biden, he's burning out. We watch it every day. His mind is going. Anyway, Lady Claire, let's start with what you've got to talk about.
Well, I'd like to start with an article that didn't get much traction in the Western press. This is from Arutz Sheva, or the Israeli National News. Dateline last Sunday with the following headline: Hezbollah video threatens precision-guided missiles on Tel Aviv. Now, this clip purportedly shows coordinates of Israeli towns as allegedly Hassan Nasrallah can be heard threatening to rain down rockets on very precise targets. And the Israeli blog is describing Hezbollah as Iran-backed. Hezbollah terror group on Saturday released a video threatening to strike major Israeli cities with precision bombs and has the capability of to hit very precise targets. Okay?
I smell a false flag coming.
Mike, if I lived in Tel Aviv right now, I would be really nervous, not about Hezbollah, but I'd be nervous about what my own government might do and who they might sacrifice to get a war going with Lebanon and Iran. Now, I am correct. The 1st of July is going to be next Wednesday, right?
Yes.
And I'm very, very concerned that Israel just may pull a false flag against its own people. And I just wonder how many people Netanyahu is willing to sacrifice as the kickoff to a war against Iran and Lebanon. And we don't see Nasrallah apparently on this clip, but I'm thinking there are many Arabic-speaking Israelis.
Yes.
It wouldn't be that hard if someone had a very musical ear, which language takes, to effectively mimic how this man speaks and how he delivers.
Well,
to make it
there's
sound
a special
convincing.
unit within the Israeli army that specializes in infiltration of Arab units and Arab people. So they've already got people trained to do exactly this.
And so I'm having to wonder if this was not produced by Israeli government operatives as a psyops to coordinate with this annexation happening next Wednesday. Mike, what do you think?
I think it's very, very likely that this is part of the propaganda run-up to say we deserve to annex all of this land in the West Bank, and bad Lebanon, bad Lebanon. And you're right; it's tied in with the annexation because that's the only reason to put it on July 1st.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I so smell a rat here,
Yes.
and I'm hoping and praying that nothing will happen. But even if Hezbollah had this weaponry capability, why would they advertise it, and why now?
Yes.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. We also have a sister article from antiwar.com with the following headline. And apparently in the West Bank, Israeli settlers are frustrated with the annexation plan. They're saying they don't like, they're resisting the creation of a later Palestinian state. And Israel is planning to annex scores of settlements in the occupied West Bank under US President Trump's blueprint. Prime Minister Netanyahu's cabinet is due next month to discuss the plan, under which Israel would apply sovereignty to over 30% of the West Bank in areas where most of about 130 of these settlements are located. Now, of course, the plan is opposed by Palestinians who seek a state in the entire West Bank, as well as the Gaza Strip with East Jerusalem as its capital. Now, the plan also faces a lot of resistance from settler leaders who oppose Trump's call for this future Palestinian state because it would envelop at least 15 Jewish settlements in spite of U.S. guarantees of protection and access to the future enclaves. Mike?
Short version, they want it all.
What does this protection involve and entail? And I wish that there was a reporter out there with some male attributes, and it doesn't mean it can't be some of you ladies in the White House press corps. But I wish they would ask exactly what these guarantees of protections for these Jewish enclaves actually mean, how they're going to play out.
Guns, bombs, walls, tanks.
Are we talking about an American troop presence defending
We
them?
could very well be talking about
Holy
that.
crud. I don't know how we can do it if we don't have troops on the ground out there. And, talk about not being able to even pretend to be a fair broker. If the U.S. does this, it's going to be pretty grim. And I would like to know what the promises have been made by Pompeo and by President Trump to Netanyahu. What exactly have you committed for and from the American people?
Well, it's an ugly situation, and the reality is that Palestine has been slowly erased from the map, going back 60 years, and now the settlers want to erase what's left of it. You're gold of my ear. There never was such a thing as Palestine. That's one of the big lies that they put out there. And of course, there was a Palestine. We've documented that quite a bit. But these transplanted Khazars came down from Central Asia and said, no, the Bible says this belongs to us, and you don't want to go against the word of God. Latest word is that Netanyahu and Benny Gantz are already at odds with each other, and that Netanyahu does not want to share power after all, despite the creation of the coalition government. Imagine my shock and surprise on that one, right?
Moving to another part of the world that is about to become a hotspot, unfortunately. Apparently, both India and China are massing troops, and China is saying that recent fight was all India's fault. Now, the border region may not look like a lot between India and China, but the recent clash in the Galwan Valley between their respective militaries, and India has confirmed that they followed suit with China and are also massing troops into the border region.
They're fighting over a big pile of rocks here. We got to take a break for commercials. Join us on the air, 800-313-9443, and we'll be right back.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting
Welcome back to our show here, and Claire's talking about the growing friction along the India-China border. Both sides are now massing troops. We had a report earlier today that heavy equipment is being sent on in.
Yeah.
And, if you look at that area, like in Google Earth, and you're saying, why are they even bothering? What is there? Well, it's access and, routes and so forth and so on. But it's really building up to the point where it could turn into something very ugly indeed.
Yes, and I am hoping and praying that someone, an adult in the room with some geopolitical integrity, is burning up the phones between New Delhi and Beijing and telling the leadership of both countries, let's not go here.
Well, Putin's trying to do that right now.
Yeah. Well, he is one of the adults in the room. And there are so many ways a world war could crank up right now. And this is because of various treaties and alignments. Reminds me a little bit of World War I,
Well, it reminds me of George Washington's advice on his farewell address.
Yeah.
Beware of foreign entanglements.
Oh, yeah. There is also a companion article in globalresearch.ca. And if you have never looked at that website, I suggest you might want to check it out. There's a lot of good information there. Now, what is happening in the midst of all this? The article is titled Geopolitical Destabilization. India's US-backed decoupling from China is a very dangerous development. And this is written by Andrew Korbiko. And apparently, India is embracing its very much and long suspected role of being the US's main continental proxy for containing China in the aftermath of the Galwan incident. The plan, as Indian leaders believe it to be, is to serve as the primary destination for foreign firms that decide to re-offshore from China in response to the U.S. trade war pressure.
Well, that's a good motive.
Yeah. To make itself more appealing, the Hindustan Times reported in early May that some states may put freeze on labor laws to get business going, which prompted Al Jazeera to opine shortly thereafter that India's workers face a race to the bottom of labor standards. And Mike, I could see that happening.
Yes.
There is this dream come true for India's government-affiliated conglomerates and their foreign partners, both present and prospective. But the article describes this and, loosening labor laws as making way for internal instability because it's going to provoke more class-based unrest that could unify the country's ethno-religiously disparate masses behind a common anti-government cause. Now, Modi's government is becoming increasingly authoritarian, as we can see through their treatment of Kashmiris, who never got the chance for their referendum. That would resolve it once and for all. Does Kashmir's people want to be independent, go with Pakistan, or stay with India? But they've never had that. And this authoritarian government assumes that it could keep everything under control with a muscular response to anti-government demonstrations. And I would like to remind our readers and listeners that the U.S. developed a defense pact under the Obama administration with India. Now, they signed a 10-year defense agreement and set the stage for increased defense cooperation.
Which means open your wallet. We're sending more weapons to another country.
Yeah. Now, this happened on June 3rd, 2015, so we are committed to defending India through June 3rd, 2025. So what happens if China and India go to a full-on war footing? I mean,
the U.S. is obligated, basically,
the U.S.
will get
is
dragged
stuck.
in.
And,
Well, they're not exactly stuck. It's not like the U.S. doesn't want a war with China.
Yes.
They're just looking for an excuse the American people will fall for.
I would like to hope that the American people are smarter than this.
Well,
we don't have a Greyhound
we
in this
weren't
race.
during Vietnam.
Yeah, definitely. Another article also from Global Research. War is good for business and organized crime. And apparently, the multi-billion-dollar opium trade and the rising heroin addiction in the U.S., which was written by Professor Michel Chodorkovsky. I'm murdering the guy's last name, sir. Please, my apologies. And he talks about the way in which Afghanistan's opium business is also creating a surge of heroin addiction in the
Yes,
U.S.
it is. And the irony, of course, is the Taliban had wiped out the opium production in Afghanistan. But as soon as the U.S. went in, the poppies were blooming. Poppies.
Oh, yeah.
Poppies,
poppies. It's protected by U.S. NATO occupation forces on behalf of a number of powerful financial and criminal interests. Today, a rough estimate based on U.S. retail prices suggests that the global heroin market is about above the $500 billion mark. Now, this multi-billion,
That's a lot of opium.
This multi-billion-dollar hike is the result of significant increase in the volume of heroin transacted worldwide, coupled with a moderate increase in retail prices.
Okay,
I'll
we
get
have to
back
take a
this
break
later.
for commercials. We got callers waiting on the line, and we will be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
Welcome back to our program here. We're going to take a few phone calls right now, starting with Charles in St. Petersburg. Charles, thank you for waiting patiently. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Mike. Well, several things. You're describing about India versus China. I think India is functioning as a proxy for the United States.
Yes.
In their war against China. And I'd like to point out to you that in Veterans Today, recent articles by Gordon Duff and his team of writers. The United States is trying to destroy the wheat crop in Syria now, burning them down, burning their wheat. You know, this I'm not so 100% a proponent of Donald Trump. You know, what he says in public and what he does in private, you know, with the intelligence agencies or something else. I think that's really vile. The United States has been behind ISIS. They claim to oppose it, but actually they've been supplying it all along, you know, in Syria. If people want to know what Palestine was like before the First World War, get a book, some of the books of Marmaduke Pickthall, who was a English Arabist before World War I describes how harmonious the relationship was between Christian Muslims and Jewish Palestinians. This is and under the old Turkish Empire, which was really run. The Turkish Empire was really run by Greeks and Armenians. The Turks didn't run it. It was everything. They were called Phanariots, and there was very little difference between as Marmaduke Pickthall describes life as idyllic. They got along well. This is before Zionism came in with the Balfour Declaration and everything, which was after World War I. The dismemberment of the Turkish Empire, the Balkanization of Austro-Hungary and Germany, all put in under the League of Nations. England and France prayed, so they're so righteous. They divided up the world. They ran the world. Then the United States wasn't anything until World War II. I had speaking of Palestinians, I think they would agree that the average Palestinian American would think of himself as Caucasian, just like the Lebanese. The people of the Fertile Crescent think of themselves as Syrians. All those groups, even Iraqis. I've had a friend, a Lebanese Christian friend, was a close friend of mine for years in Tampa, and I've been in New York and to the Melkite Church there. It's a Melkite Christian Lebanese church. And, Carlton Coon, Coon, his Races of Europe, describes what the Palestinians 70 years ago looked like in Galilee. They describe them as looking very much like Poles, Germans. Not all people. Lebanese, for instance, Jeanette Perro on Fox News or Danny Thomas would be typical Lebanese.
Yeah. Yes.
They look kind of like Italians. I'm very much Caucasian. I don't think they're non-white. But,
well,
they
certainly don't look Italian. I mean, if you look at the noses,
Judge Perro, she looks. I thought she was Italian. She's Lebanese.
Well, we don't know how much plastic surgery she's had.
Maybe so. Well, we don't know about Pelosi either.
I don't think there's anything of the original Nancy Pelosi left. It's all been replaced by plastic.
Yeah. Well, more power to her, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Steve in West Virginia. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Hi, Mike. I've got a couple quick things. First of all, I got to tell you, I partially agree with the Black Lives Matter people about the cops. The cops, to me, are a bunch of shitheads. I haven't had any problems with them personally since I was in my early 20s for stupid stuff like not reckless driving, but driving without a license, stuff like that. But still, they're just the way they talk to people and the way they act. They have they're just pricks. The term I could use is they're just pricks, and you can see it. You watch these videos, and I think the police need to be reformed big time, and I think we need to spend a lot less money on them. Just like the wars, just like the military, a lot less money. The money needs to go back in our infrastructure and stuff. And the other thing I got for you, Mike, is that you've asked throughout the week. I haven't had a chance to call in, but you've asked throughout the week. How does this make us feel? This whole thing. I mean, are we scared or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, for me, the way I feel about the whole thing is I'm inconvenienced, and it infuriates me because it's a small group of people that are pulling this stuff that are behind this whole thing, and they're inconvenient. They're locking us up in a cage partially, and
Yes.
I'm just infuriated over it. I mean, I can't go anywhere. I had plans to go to Spain, Italy. I can't go to any of these places. It's all over a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a hoax to get rid of Donald Trump, and that's all it is. And it's just like that cop up in that sheriff up in Washington said today to a bunch of people: "Don't be sheep. Don't be sheep." And that's what we got. We got a lot of sheep still, Mike. And
Yep.
I don't know how you break them out of it, but there's a lot of sheep out there still. And I don't know what else to say, but for me, I feel inconvenienced over something that's nothing.
Okay, well, that's one way of looking at it. And thank you for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Lloyd in South Carolina. Hello, Lloyd. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike,
Lloyd,
can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're on the air.
All right. Hey, how you doing, Mike? Yeah, I'm a vet. Did 8 years, and I'm a communications soldier. I got out in 16. I'm African American. So, what's happening is with the current climate, I could feel the looks a little more prevalent than I used to. My other half is Caucasian.
Yeah.
Her and I have been together for many, many, many years. And like Steve just said, you know, in your 20s, I'm 30 now. We're both 30s now, but in our 20s, you know, you get pulled over, and we've only been pulled over, I mean, twice the most. But Mike, Steve is right. Whenever the cop would approach the car both times, he would look at her. And when he looked at her, he'd give her that look. Ma'am, are you okay? Everything okay? And then he'd look at, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, and I never thought about it then. I just figured, well, that's just the generic treatment. Get over it. And this was circa my military enlistment.
Yeah.
Now, I got out in 16. And I woke up with a vengeance. Like everyone else, I'm sorry, like a majority of people. I started with the Glenn Becks and the Alex Joneses and all the nonsense, all the crazy noise. Then I started to hone in and get the real truth. Dr. Buttar, you, guys like Steve, Dustin, you know, I started to get honed into the real source of information. Or at least if you're gonna have someone think for you by proxy, at least let them be be reputable. Nowadays, Mike, and I try to explain this to my people, my not people, but you know, my friends, my circle. I try to explain to them, you guys are getting your information from the people who are causing the harm. A. B. Everyone that is out there in the streets burning down buildings is having their thought by proxy from morons like Gates and Fauci. So that, I mean, I'm sorry to get all gripey, but dude, I'm just, even the tone, like my whole psyche has been not brought down, but I've slowed down to really see that no one really knows what's going on. We have no leadership. I can't turn on mainstream media because there's no point.
Yes.
So that's pretty much all I got. I'm sorry for ranting.
No, that's okay. It's a valid rant here. I mean, you know, I was saying at the top of the show, I could run replays and nobody would notice the difference because there's nothing new happening in the news. It's just constant recapitulation of, you know, COVID-19 and statues coming down and economy is bad. And they're not talking about the important things that are going on in the world, like all of these, you know, borderline wars here. Have you heard about China and India on the mainstream media? I haven't. I mean, Fox News just got done running a story about UFOs. I mean, that's how desperate they are to keep us distracted. Seriously, just this second, they were running this thing, you know, U.S. government has new aerial phenomenon investigative board, and they're showing all this stuff. I mean, come on, really, we've been down this road before.
And I I guess I'm at the point now where I don't want to call. I don't want to write anyone or anything off. But we're at a point now. I can't stop saying we, but I feel as though there is a point. We're at a point now where it's, if you do not critically think, and I was not taught how to critically think. I'm a high school dropout from Job Corps, and now I'm a network engineer. So, you know, if you're not exposed to situations and to events, if your comfort zone and your line of reasoning logic is not stretched, not to the point of compromise or just, you know, I give up, but you have to have experience. Experience is the only way to grow.
Yes.
And what's happened, like Steve said, like, you know, like everyone said, I mean, we're locked in the house. We can't go anywhere. And when you do travel, you travel with this kind of looming, impending doom. Everyone's like, just kind of stay far away from me if I don't know you. I got to social distance from you if I don't know you. But if I know you, you can come close. It's cool. But if I don't know you, step away. That's weird. And that's retarded. That's not how it works. Excuse my language. And my last thing, Mike, I want to get out. I got the new ID today, the real ID.
Yes.
And, well, quote unquote, the real ID. And you want to know what's on it? They have my veteran status on there. Like,
yeah.
Big blue letters, and like it's really cool. But I shouldn't feel safer now with everything going on, being African American. Having that veteran identifier shouldn't make me feel any safer, but I'm not lying. It does. It does, because when I get pulled over, I have everything. I mean, I'm squared away. I'm a soldier until I die, like flat. So, I'm you know, I'm situational awareness and all that, but having that on my ID card, for some reason, there was a sense of like, oh, that's not right. It shouldn't be that. Everyone has a right to feel safe and at home in their home. Like, why? Because I have a veteran sticker, I should feel safe? No, I'm still black, still a man, and I'm still capable. And I'm still a threat to the opposition. And it's ridiculous. And I just wish that someone I wish, you know, Dr. Buttar would come on the show, or I had a couple clones, you know, that one for doctor, one for mechanic, one for, just because it's people like, you know, him and in that same thought class and group who can make a change if that information and knowledge is passed down to people like, you know, to younger generations, young 30s and 20s. But,
yes.
You know, this is just a pipe dream. I'm sorry if you know it's a pipe dream, but it's just, anyway, thank you, Mike, for your time. I'll try to do better
thank you very much. Thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to go back to Claire, and you wanted to finish up on this opium issue.
Yeah, it's just amazing the money that pours forth from this. Now, based on the most recent UN drug data 2017, opium production in Afghanistan is on the order of 9,000 metric tons. That's I can't.
That's a lot of horse.
Yeah, I can't even conceive that high, which after processing and transformation is equivalent to about 900,000 kilograms of pure heroin. And with the surge in heroin addiction since 2001, the retail price has increased. According to DEA intelligence, 1 gram of pure heroin was selling in December of 2016 in the domestic market for $902 per gram. The trade is absolutely colossal. And unfortunately, the heroin trade and those who profit from it, Mike, is one of the main reasons why the U.S. will probably never really leave Afghanistan. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You went over this.
I went over that already.
All righty. And the next thing I would want to talk about. Oh, apparently in a Gallup study, media rank dead last in public trust. Well, duh. What do you think when you have corporate news?
Nobody likes a liar.
No.
Nobody likes a liar.
You know, and the prostitutes are carrying water for some of these fantastical things and not being honest and not being right. And that is why, at least from my standpoint, I think independent media has got to be respected and supported right now, like what really happened. because we do our best to give people the truth, and they understand corporate media is not really that interested.
Yeah.
They're only there to forward an agenda that the government wants us to believe in and believe. And I will tell you right now, one of the most enlightening things you can do out there on your own is to read the foreign press in English.
Yes.
I go to Press TV, which is an Iranian English outlet, every day, because I think that a lot of things that people are saying make a lot of sense to me, and I sometimes link to it.
Okay,
give
we
our
got to take
readers.
another break for commercials. Back with the last segment of our Friday show after these few words.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN @hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Extendovite really works. Here are some reviews from Amazon.com. Amazon customer, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm quite happy about it. This product has relieved what appears to be an angina problem, pain in the chest after climbing stairs, and short on breath. I'm quite happy about it. Dr. Sam Surreal. Good product and ingredients. Kept my blood pressure normal after mild heart attack in 2015. Switched to plant-based diet, also to reverse atherosclerosis. John Bispicos, 5 out of 5 stars. Built up my immune system. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
Welcome back to our show here, the last segment on this Pow on a Friday. And before Claire does her last story, I wanted to make a comment because earlier in the show we were talking about, what color was the real historical character of Joshua/Jesus. And I went to put up a link to the article I wrote some years ago called Killing the Family of Jesus. And as a quick shortcut, because we were in the middle of the show, I went to Google and I said, Killing the Family of Jesus, site : whatreallyhappened.com. And I got this page saying that Google refuses to construct a preview page for this article, and a whole bunch of explanation about why, they're not going to provide the link to it. But the short version is they're blocking the article because it's apparently offensive to certain individuals to suggest that Jesus had a family and that they're still around and that they're being killed by you-know-who. Anyway, you've got a story you want to share with us.
Yeah, the last thing I want to mention, very interesting article about Black Lives Matter and the neoliberal attempt at a color revolution in America. Now, this is another guy that I linked to because he has a tendency to be spot on. His name is Kurt Nemo. And he's talking about the protest riots and violent and nonviolent actions in the U.S. Since May 25th, including an assault on the gates of the White House, begin to make sense when we understand the CIA's color revolution playbook. And he's talking about the historian and freelance journalist William Engdahl. What Engdahl does is he breaks down the connection between Black Lives Matter, socialist organizations, George Soros, Open Society Foundations, the Ford Foundation, as previously noted, a CIA front organization.
No wonder they make lousy cars.
The Foundation to Promote Open Society, Borealis Philanthropy, the Kellogg Foundation, Ben & Jerry's Foundation, and Heinz Foundation, John Kerry. Okay. Following the murder of George Floyd, major corporations like Apple, Disney, Nike, and many others may be pouring untold and uncounted millions into Act Blue in the name of Black Lives Matter, funds that in fact could go to the election of a Democrat president, Joe Biden, potentially. And what I thought about when reading this was remembering about Watergate.
Yes.
And what Deep Throat said regarding the Watergate scandal. Follow the money. Yeah.
It's all about the Benjamins.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and speaking of Black Lives Matter, one little short story. The National Black Lives Matter movement repudiated the statement that was said yesterday on Fox TV from Hawk Newsom when he stated that if this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn down the system and replace it. Now, this is written by...
This was a wise and prudent thing for them to do.
Oh, my heavens. The global network distanced itself from an organizer of Black Lives Matter, claiming that the chapter isn't officially part of the network. And what they said was, Hawk Newsom has no relation to the Black Lives Matter global network. The network's managing director, Kaylee Scales, told the AP yesterday late. Well, that was quick.
It definitely was. And there's the music. It's time for us to get on out of here. Stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word of RBN. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. We need all the help we can get right now. Have a really good, safe weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Aloha, America.